Before you go, I want to know, where in the world are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. It's always amazing to see how far our little stories travel. And hey, if Chloe and Zach made you smile today, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Tomorrow a brand new story is coming, one that might just melt your heart or make you believe in fate all over again. So stay tuned, turn on the bell, and let's continue this journey together. I'll see you in the next story. Zachary Coleman was the kind of man who seemed to have everything. At just 32, he was already the CEO of a successful tech company in Austin, Texas. Smart, sharp, and undeniably attractive, Zach carried himself with the kind of confidence that turned heads in any room he walked into. But behind the tailored suits and boardroom bravado, Zach had one persistent problem. His mom, Susan Coleman, a loving but overly involved woman, had made it her life's mission to find her son the perfect wife. From dinner setups to yoga class introductions, she'd tried it all. And after the third failed blind date in 1 month, Zach had had enough. "I can't keep doing this," he muttered to himself one evening, tossing aside another handwritten note from his mother with the phone number of some friend's daughter. That's when the idea hit him. It was wild, maybe even ridiculous, but it might just work. The next morning, Chloe Harper walked into his office with her usual cheerful smile and a coffee in hand, though, as always, she tripped slightly over her own feet. At 26, Chloe was new to the company, having landed the assistant role just a few weeks prior. She was bubbly, awkward, and completely unaware of how often she made Zach smile, without even trying. "Chloe," Zach began carefully, "can I ask you something unusual?" She blinked, clearly caught off guard. Sure. Am I getting fired?" Zach chuckled. "No, not at all. Actually, I want to offer you a deal." Within the next 10 minutes, Zach explained everything. The constant blind dates, the pressure from his mom, and his plan to finally get some peace. He needed someone to pretend to be his girlfriend, just long enough to convince his mother to back off. "I'll pay you for your time," he added, trying to make it sound more professional than personal. "Double your salary, plus any expenses. For events." Chloe tilted her head, squinting at him. "So, you want me to fake date you, sir, for money?" He nodded. A pause. "Okay," she said with a grin. "Triple it, and you've got yourself a girlfriend." Zach burst out laughing. Deal. And just like that, a fake relationship was born. There were rules, of course, no real feelings, no crossing lines, and definitely no falling for each other. But even as they shook on it, both of them felt a strange flutter in their chest. Neither of them said it out loud, but somehow they both knew. This wouldn't stay fake forever. The deal was set, the handshake made, and the fake relationship between Zach and Chloe officially began. But as any good story goes, things didn't exactly go smoothly. In fact, the first week of their pretend love life felt more like a comedy show than a romantic cover-up. It started small. On Monday, Chloe accidentally sent Zach a folder labeled Barbie Movie Collection instead of the quarterly financial reports. When he called her into his office, she peeked over his shoulder, turned ghost white, and gasped, "Oh my God, that was supposed to go to my niece." Zach stared at the screen deadpan. "Chloe, your niece has 25 Barbie movies in one folder." "Don't judge," she muttered, snatching the mouse to delete the file. "She's a collector." Zach sighed, pinched the bridge of his nose, and reminded himself, "You chose this. You can survive this." But then came Wednesday. Chloe, in her usual rush to please, brought Zach his favorite iced coffee. As she handed it to him, her heel caught on the edge of the rug. Time slowed. Zach watched helplessly as the entire cup tilted. Then spilled straight into his lap. "Oh my God, I am so sorry," she squealed, grabbing a handful of tissues and dropping to her knees to clean the mess. What made things worse? In her panic, she accidentally brushed against something. She definitely shouldn't have. Zach practically leapt out of his chair, face flushed. "Chloe!" "I didn't mean to," she cried, mortified. "I swear I didn't touch anything important." "Out! Now!" She bolted like a kid caught, cheating on a test. By Friday, Zach was questioning every decision he'd ever made. especially when they attended their first public event as a couple, a high society gala filled with wealthy donors, media, and of course his entire extended family. Chloe tried to hold it together. She even wore the dress Zach bought her, sky, blue, elegant, perfect. For the first half hour, things actually went okay. Then she spotted a dessert table. In her excitement, she didn't notice a server walking toward her. They collided. Cupcakes flew. Chloe landed face first into a pyramid of pink frosted pastries. The entire room fell silent. All eyes were on the woman now covered in icing, her hair stuck to her face, and her fake boyfriend rushing toward her like some kind of rom-com hero. "Are you okay?" Zach whispered, helping her up. She blinked through frosting. "No, but I'm faking it." Later in the car, she sat slumped in the passenger seat, still sticky, still humiliated. "Just fire me," she muttered. Zach glanced over, smiled faintly. "If I fired you every time you embarrassed yourself, Chloe, you'd be out of a job 5 times a day." She laughed despite herself. "And yet, here you are, still pretending to be my boyfriend." He didn't respond right away because, honestly, it wasn't feeling so fake anymore. After the cupcake incident, Chloe was convinced Zach would finally cancel the deal. The following Monday, she walked into the office with her head down, fully expecting a termination letter on her desk. But instead of a pink slip, she found a note handwritten in Zach's sharp but oddly neat penmanship. "Thank you for coming to the gala. You did great, don't worry about the cupcakes. People love a little drama." Z, she read it 3 times. Was he serious? Great. She face-planted into a dessert tower in front of CEOs and millionaires, and yet he was still being kind. That day she couldn't focus. Her hands kept shaking as she typed. Every time Zach walked by, her heart skipped a beat, and when he asked for coffee, she almost poured the creamer into the printer. Something was changing, and she knew it wasn't part of the script. Meanwhile, Zach was going through his own internal crisis. He'd agreed to this fake girlfriend, planned thinking it would be clean, simple, transactional. But Chloe wasn't simple. She was chaos wrapped in sunshine. She was the only person who could spill coffee on his crotch and then make him laugh about it 5 minutes later. He tried to brush it off, tried to remind himself that she was only doing this for the money. But late at night, when the office was empty and the silence too loud, he'd catch himself staring at the photo they took at the gala, him smiling in a way he hadn't in years. And Chloe, icing still in her hair. This isn't just business anymore, he thought. But he was terrified. Every assistant he ever had that showed even the slightest romantic interest, he'd let them go, no exceptions. Office romance was messy, dangerous, unprofessional. And yet, here he was, wanting nothing more than to text her something stupid, just to make her smile. One afternoon, Zach overheard Chloe talking with Eli in the break room. She didn't know he was behind the door. "I think I like him," she whispered. "But I can't say anything. If he finds out, I'm done, just like all the others." Zach froze. He wanted to push the door open, tell her he liked her too, that he hadn't stopped thinking about her since the moment she tripped into his life. But instead, he walked away. Because fear is a funny thing. It makes brave men cowards and turns real love into silence. That night, he stared at his ceiling for hours. Chloe liked him. He liked her. But they were both pretending so hard not to care they couldn't see how deeply they already did. The next morning, when Chloe walked into his office, he looked up from his desk with a soft smile and said, "Let's grab dinner after work, no pretending, just you and me." Chloe froze, then smiled. "Okay." And just like that, the line between fake and real started to blur. Dinner wasn't just dinner. From the moment Chloe stepped into Zach's car, dressed in a simple floral dress and biting her lip nervously, something felt different. They didn't talk about work, or the fake relationship, or how they'd both been avoiding eye contact for days. Instead, they talked about childhood dreams, their worst dates, and what they'd do if money weren't an issue. It felt so natural. So easy, too easy. And that's what terrified Zach. After dinner, instead of dropping her home, he drove them to a quiet rooftop restaurant overlooking the city. String lights hung between beams and soft jazz played in the background. Chloe's. Brows pulled together in confusion. "Zach, what is this?" But he didn't answer. He led her by the hand up the last flight of stairs, and there it was. The rooftop was filled with familiar faces. Eli, some of their co-workers, and even Zach's mother, smiling from ear to ear. In the center was a small stage, surrounded by soft candlelight. Chloe froze. This was no random dinner. This was something else. Her heart pounded. Is this what I think it is? Zach stepped onto the stage, took a deep breath and grabbed the mic. Everyone turned quiet. "I never planned for this," he began. "When Chloe and I started pretending to be a couple, I thought I was in control. I thought I was just buying myself time to get my mum off my back, time to avoid another awkward date." He looked at her, eyes soft but serious. "But somewhere between your clumsy chaos, your terrible coffee runs, and that ridiculous cupcake crash, I fell for you. Not the version we acted out, the real you." Chloe's hands flew to her mouth, her legs felt like jelly. Zach continued, voice cracking just slightly. "You taught me that love isn't always neat. It's messy. It's imperfect. But when it's real, it's worth it." He pulled a small velvet box from his pocket and opened it. The crowd collectively gasped. "Chloe Harper, will you be my fiancée?" For a moment, the world stopped spinning. Chloe wasn't sure if she was breathing. She looked around at all the people staring, waiting. Her eyes darted to Eli, who was beaming, and then to Zach, standing there, heart on his sleeve, ready to be rejected in front of everyone he loved. She let out a shaky laugh, tears welling up. "You knew I liked you, didn't you?" she whispered. He smiled. "Heard it with my own ears." "You planned all this?" "Guilty." Chloe laughed through her tears. "You're such a jerk." "Is that a yes?" She took a step forward. "It's a hell yes." The rooftop erupted in cheers as Zach slid the ring onto her finger. He pulled her into a hug, then kissed her, slow, sweet, and full of all the words they hadn't said. From pretend to proposal, the lie had become their truth, and this time it was very, very real. 3 months after the rooftop proposal, Chloe stood in the bridal room of a small chapel nestled in the mountains of Colorado. Her palms were sweaty, her veil was crooked, and her heels, well, one was mysteriously missing. "Chloe, breathe," Eli whispered, adjusting her hair. "You've already survived fake dating your boss, spilling coffee on his lap, and falling into a dessert table. You got this." Chloe laughed nervously. "That's exactly why I'm scared. This feels too perfect." But it wasn't perfect, not really. The florist sent the wrong flowers, the ring bearer lost the ring, and, because it was Chloe, she tripped on the aisle runner 5 seconds into her walk down the aisle. But none of that mattered, because the second she looked up and saw Zach waiting at the altar, smiling like she was the only thing in the world that made sense, all her fears melted away. He walked down the steps, took her arm, and whispered, "Let's do this together." And together, they did. The ceremony was short, sweet, and filled with laughter, especially when Zach, in true Zach fashion, forgot part of his vows and had to improvise with, "You make life messier, but better. And I wouldn't trade you for all the peace and quiet in the world." Everyone laughed. Chloe cried. And just like that, they were husband and wife. That same year, they found out Chloe was pregnant. Zach cried harder than Chloe did at the ultrasound. He kissed her belly every night and read parenting books like he was preparing for a CEO exam. 9 months later, they welcomed a baby girl, Daisy Harper Coleman. All 7 pounds, 9 ounces of her came into the world with a cry loud enough to shake the walls. "She's got your voice," Zach teased. "And your dramatic flair," Chloe shot back. Life wasn't a fairy tale. There were sleepless nights, baby bottles exploding in the microwave, and arguments over who forgot to buy diapers. But there was also laughter, late-night cuddles, and a kind of love neither of them had ever experienced before. One evening, as they lay on the couch, Daisy asleep between them, Zach turned to Chloe and said softly, "Remember when we were just pretending?" She smiled, eyes still on their daughter. "Yeah. I remember thinking I could never fall for you." He chuckled. Same. Chloe turned her head toward him, her voice quiet. But look at us now. Zach leaned over and kissed her temple. From fake to forever. It wasn't the love story they expected, but it was real. It was raw, and it was theirs. And now that you've reached the end of Chloe and Zach's story, we'd love to hear from you. Did their journey from fake dating to real love melt your heart? Which moment made you laugh, cry, or secretly cheer them on? Maybe it was the cupcake crash, the surprise proposal, or that quiet moment on the couch with baby Daisy. Whatever it was, we want to know. So drop your thoughts in the comments below. And while you're there, tell us where you're watching from. It's always amazing to see how far these stories travel and how they connect us all across the world. Your comments inspire us to keep telling stories that make you feel something, whether it's love, laughter, or just a little hope. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on that notification bell, because tomorrow we're bringing you another love story that might just steal your heart all over again. So go ahead, share your favorite part, say hello, and let us know you're here. We're reading every word. You're part of this story too.